Welcome to the Boomer Briefing Podcast, where we help you solve a critical business issue in 20 minutes or less. I'm your host, Jon Hubbard, shareholder and consultant here at Boomer Consulting. And my guest today is the Sandra Wiley. Sandra, thank you for being on this episode of the podcast.
I don't think I've ever been called the Sandra Wiley, but I like
Wiley. Yes. So Sandra is our president, as most of you probably know, and one of our fearless consultants as well. And today we have a fun topic, right? Anytime a topic has the word exponential in it, it's always a great topic. So the exponential firm, expanding your capacity and capabilities. This is something that I believe every firm is thinking about right now, is how do we expand our capacity and our capabilities? So Sandra, kind of explain, at least from your perspective, when you hear the exponential firm, how would you define that?
You know, if you look up exponential in the dictionary, it talks about becoming more and more rapid. And I think that would speak to most of our audience out there, no matter what kind of business you're in. But certainly if you are in the accounting profession these days, things are just going faster and faster. I mean, I would even call it like super fast. Everything we do, from growing the firm to the business model to talent, everything is just going super fast. So we simply must find capacity, because if we keep doing things the way we've always done, we will absolutely fall behind. So if we can somehow find some capacity and new capabilities to really accelerate and help us be more and more rapid, we are going to be ahead of the game. And that's much simpler for me to sit here and say than to actually do in the firm. But it just requires that we expand our capabilities and let things go so that we can increase that capacity. So it's not just about doing things differently, and it's not just about learning new things. It's about letting go of some things too, which is sometimes harder, I think, than the learning new things part. So change is the key to everything I just talked about. And change is not always easy, but change is necessary. So
yeah, and I think this topic is so relevant right now too, because every firm we're speaking to says two things. They say, we really want to grow. We're excited for growth. We really want to grow. And we cannot do to our people what we've been doing to them the last year or so in terms of number of hours worked and the type of work they're doing. Otherwise, we're going to lose them. And so this conversation around capacity and capabilities is just coming up. So as you work with firms in these areas, Sandra, what are some solutions, some tips for firms to maybe, okay, well, how do we expand our capacity and capabilities?
I would think that a few of these things that I'll talk about, I don't think anybody on, that's listening will say, oh my gosh, I'm shocked. I can't believe why I didn't think about that. I think though that we have to put laser focus on some things and really make sure that we're doing them right now and not waiting for another year or 2 years from now. So the first thing I would tell them is look at your processes. Look at the processes that you are in the most and do process improvement to find capacity. I think process improvement is huge right now. And that will give you back so much of your time. It's not even funny, but you got to spend the time really breaking things apart, really putting them back together in the right way, being the most efficient, and then training and holding people accountable to that. So I think that process improvement. I think that the second thing I would tell them is training in change leadership is super important. We all know that change is important right now, but you have to lead through the change. And so some really good education around what is change leadership and how do I make that work for me is big. Laser focus on everyone in your firm for upskilling and reskilling of your talent. Some of your people, including you that's listening right now, may need to upskill. In other words, you need to learn things that will take you to a higher level of doing the work that you do. It could be that you're at a really high level now, but you need to reskill yourself so that you have new skills that you can apply to the work that you do today. But you better have some laser focus on that education and learning. And, the people in our learning and development circle that's what they do. Their entire world is all about laser focus on how do we train and teach the best. I think that's super important. And the last thing, and I will say this, is get really strategic about your firm and what they're going to focus on. And if you do not have a strategic plan, and if you haven't really thought about how that strategic plan can drive that exponential firm, then you're not doing the right things in your strategic planning. That is what you should be talking about. Does what we're getting ready to do, this event that's on our strategic plan, does it really help us become that exponential firm, or does it just give us a little boost or a little tiny movement? We want big movement. So I think that laser focus on those things are going to be super important.
That's great, Sandra. All four of those are spot on. Going back to the kind of the first one around process, I think something that goes really closely with process improvement is this whole conversation around outsourcing and automation. And those three terms, outsource, automation, process improvement, I mean, I kind of see it as like interlocking circles, so that when you start focusing on one, you can start focusing on all three of them.
Yeah.
And I love the capacity and the capability combination, because you and I have seen it where firms have put effort into gain capacity, but they don't figure out how to increase their capability. So what ends up happening? Well, they take that newfound capacity and they end up filling it with the same maybe types of clients or the same issues that got them there
Yeah.
to begin with. And so I love how you're kind of honing in on both of those, with the upskilling and the reskilling and the training and getting the strategic plan in place, is because the last thing you want to do is put time, money, and resources into gaining capacity, only to a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, find yourself in the same exact situation. So as you work with firms in this area, Sandra, you see firms that are excelling in certain areas, other firms are maybe, behind in other areas, but share with us some examples or some good things you've seen come out of firms that have really not only increased their capacity, but have stacked on those new capabilities.
I would be remiss in not saying that if you look at the ones that have gone through process improvement projects or really done a great job of upskilling, if you look at their ROI, their return on the investment that they have, and if you look at the metrics that they put into place in their firm, they are always better. Every time, in every case, once you've done it and you've done it well and you hold people accountable to it, then you're going to see better financial metrics. And I think that's super important. I have also tell you that the retention of the absolute best and brightest staff members. Now, does it mean you're going to have retention of every single person in the firm? Probably not. But you may not want every single person. But what you do want is to make sure that the superstars are the ones that you're retaining. You're going to see that retention of the best and the brightest is absolutely on target. And I really believe, when I look at those firms that are in that exponential growth or exponential firm stage, right? They're the people that have a vision that the firm and the team will totally buy into, and they're there to back you up and help you make it happen. So it is all about a collaborative team of people that sees the same vision. The vision has to be painted by the leaders in the firm, but they won't follow anything that doesn't sound like it's all about them. And if you make it all about them, they will follow and they will do a great job for you. But that I know that happens in every firm that's making this a priority for them.
Yeah. And I love that term, best and brightest, because the best and brightest want to work for firms that are the best and brightest as well. That, the best and brightest real quickly pick up on inefficiencies, tasks that could be done by software, or, redundancies and loopbacks and all these things. The best and brightest don't want to work in that type of environment because they know what's possible. And so I love that you hit on that. One question we always ask on this podcast, and our listeners know what's coming next if they listen to a lot of these episodes, is around, as we look outside of our profession as it relates to this topic, are there any dots to be connected related to the topic we're talking about here with anything going on outside the profession? Do you have any perspective on that, Sandra?
I do. And I think that the thing that really pops for me in that area is that when we talk to our clients, their clients are all different kinds of business owners, right? They're small business, they're medium businesses, they're manufacturing, they're construction, you name it, they're dental practices, medical practices. And what's fascinating to me is they will oftentimes say, wow, once we have this figured out, our clients really could use this, and we could go to them and we could help them. So the quick answer is do the dotted line back to your clients. And I'll bet you that everything that I just talked about in this, and that Jon and I have mentioned in this podcast, I bet every single thing that we talked about, your clients need the very same thing. So yeah, absolutely. This is not just about accounting firms. We can start the ball rolling, but it is for everybody, no question.
I love that. Yeah, oftentimes the things you can help your clients with are things that you've done internally first. I know we think about that a lot here at Boomer as well, as oftentimes we're doing things internally to help us be more of an exponential organization. And then not too long after, clients are asking about that.
Yeah.
So that's a really great point. So as we round out this episode, Sandra, what's the next step someone should take? Maybe they say, hey, I'm really intrigued with this exponential firm concept and increasing our capacity and capabilities, but where do I start?
I think I would start with an exploratory or discovery call with us. And we can help point you in the right direction of some resources. They can be books you can read. There's some white papers that we've written. There's some engagements that we have done, so we can tell you the stories about what we've done with other clients. But I think a research call or an exploratory call with one of our solutions advisors would be amazing. And I think that would be a good place to start. So if I were you, that's where I would start, is look at boomer.com, find where it says you've got a question for us, and then let us know, and we will make sure that we contact you.
Awesome. If someone wanted to reach out to you directly, Sandra, should they reach out via email, LinkedIn, or what's your preferred communication?
I'm an emailer still. So sandra.wiley@boomer.com. You can find me there, or LinkedIn. I'm always, I look at that every day. So, and you can find me there. Just look for Sandra Wiley and you'll find me. So, but I will also tell you that on social media, I'm also on Twitter. So I'd be happy to have you connect with me there also.
Awesome, Sandra. Well, as always, it's fun chatting. Thanks for sharing your knowledge for our listeners. We release new episodes every Tuesday morning. And we cover all sorts of topics, whether it's talent like this, or process, or leadership, talent, growth. I think I said talent twice, but I love that topic a lot.
Oh, we like that one.
It's great. It's fantastic. But we release new episodes every Tuesday morning. And so please go ahead and subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks so much. Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you.